everyone, my name is Keely and I'm the owner and creator here at Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for another soap making video. Today we're going to be making the crescent moon that I made in the behind the scenes video, and I am going to be making a fire moon soap. This is largely in part been inspired by the moons that I've been seeing lately after all these fires that we are having here in Australia, but it's also quite appropriate in that we are in the month of December, we are in the star sign of Sagittarius, which means there is a fire moon anyway. So we're going to go and make that using a fragrance oil called Luna, and it has notes of berries, white flowers and a little bit of sandalwood as well. We're going to do an all black soap with the moon in it, and then we're going to do some piping on the top. So let's go and see how I make my fire moon soap. Okay, so let's start by making the base of the soap, and it's going to be very, very simple. It's just going to be a black base to embed that moon into. So I've got my oils here, and the way I've actually calculated these, I've taken the normal amount of oils I would use in my mold, and I minus the amount of oils that I use to make my crescent moon. So we should hopefully then have enough oils in here to be able to fill the mold up. So I'm going to do this as I always do. I'm going to pour my lye water solution just very gently into my bucket of oils just to stop any splashback. Going to mix it up, and then we're going to add in the colour. Okay, so I have just bought those oils and lye solution together there. We're going to do a bit more mixing, so I'm just decided I'll add my colour and my fragrance in now. So the first thing I'm going to add in is some activated charcoal, and I'm going to put a good tablespoon in here to make sure we get a nice black soap, but I'm just going to leave that open in case we need to add some more there. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some blizzard mica to give that black a little bit of sparkle to make it look like there are some stars. Now, even though I'm adding a white into that black, it doesn't necessarily make it go a grey colour. This particular white mica tends to shine through the soap as opposed to dull the colours or lighten the colours. I am also going to add in all of my fragrance oil now, so we only have to do one lot of mixing. So that is added in. I'll give that a mix up and we'll see what colour we've got. So I've mixed this up a little bit more than what I usually would, so that I'm probably just past a light trace, almost at a medium. I did add another half a spoon of activated charcoal because I just wanted it to have that real deep dark look to it. And that is looking really good. I can see all the speckles of that blizzard mica through here, so it should look like a really nice night sky. Let's get this started to pour into our mold. So I've got my normal loaf mold here. Now I do leave links down below for this, and I've had a lot of people emailing me lately saying that the link's going to the page but there's nothing listed. Now quite often they will actually take holidays and they just take everything off of the page while they go on holiday. We're coming into things like Chinese New Year for them at the start of next year, and I know that they quite often take time off. Best thing is just to message them to see when they're going to be back, and they will always message back and let you know. So I'm going to leave that bit there for now. I need that to set up a little bit so we can actually rest our moon on the top. So I'll be back in a minute to do that. Okay, so this is set up nicely, and I have now got the crescent moon, and I have actually coated this in some mica. I have got some Silver Lake, which I mixed with some blizzard mica, just to give it a real shine and hopefully make it pop off of the black soap once it's in here. I'm just going to very gently put that in. I want it to sit up like so. And now what I'm going to do is give this one a stir just to loosen it back up, and I'm going to finish filling the mold up, and hopefully we can make sure that that crescent side is full of soap as well, so we don't end up with any air pockets. So let's start pouring. all filled up. I have got my fingers and toes crossed that we will not end up with any air pockets inside that crescent, but we will wait and see when we get it cut. For now, what I'm going to go and do is prepare some soap to do some piping on the top of this one. Piping is ready to go, and I've got them all into my biodegradable bags here. Into this bag I have got some really red from Nurture Soap, and the tip that I've got in here is a Wilton 2D. And rather than doing the sort of piping flowers that I usually do on the nails, I'm just going to pipe straight on the top of here, and I'm going to do some of the little rosette style ones that I see people doing. So I'm just going to give that a squeeze and a little bit of a twist and make some little roses. That's enough of the red ones for now. I'm going to move on to my next colour, and in this one I have got some orange pop mica, and I mixed it in with a little bit of extravagance gold just to give it a bit of a glistering effect. And we're just going to pipe some of these flowers on here as well. So as mentioned, I'm doing this as a fire moon soap because of the colours of the moon that we have been seeing due to the fires that have been going here in Australia. And so I decided to go for those real orange and red sort of colours for the flowers here. But as I was doing a bit more sort of research into whether fire moon is an actual thing, I discovered it was, and it was all to do with the star signs. So as I mentioned at the beginning, it is to do, Sagittarius is one of them, and the other two fire signs are Aries and Leo. So you are all part of that fire moon idea there. So I'm just going to fill this in with lots of little orange flowers. I'll come back and add some more red in as well. And with this tip, I didn't tell you what it was. This is a Wilton 190, so 190. And all I'm doing is as I'm squeezing, I'm just pulling it up and twisting at the same time, just to put a little bit of definition into those petal flowers. So we're going to fill that in as much as I possibly can. Jump back onto this red and just put a few more into these gaps. Right, so before I go too overboard with the orange, we are also going to add in some little white flowers just to break those colours up a bit. Now this tip I've got in here, I'm not really sure what it is because it's just one I've got in my box and has no number or brand, but it's like a really tight little star tip there. So I'm hoping we'll get some pretty little white flowers. Huge thank you to everyone that left birthday wishes for me on the behind the scenes video where we created the moon soap. I had such a lovely time on my actual birthday. It's the one day every year that I actually take off. I do not answer emails. I don't let people come around to the house or anything like that. So that's the one thing I do on my birthday, is I just actually have that day to myself and just have a nice relaxing day. But as I said, we went to the Huss Distillers on the Wednesday, the day after my birthday, and it was just so nice. It's such a relaxing atmosphere out there. It's in farmland. They grow their own sugar cane and things like that. So they have cows and yeah, just big paddocks and stuff around the actual eatery area. It is very much a they use everything on their farm. So their main sort of thing that they created on this distillery was a form of rum. So they grow their own sugar cane to use in it, but they also then use the sort of leftover bits from pressing the cane to feed their cows and things like that. So they are really a very eco-friendly company with the way in which they do their productions and use everything that they possibly can with very, very little waste. Let's turn that round a little bit there. And so Mum and I'd already actually done the tour there, but my mum wanted to do it, and well, you can't go and do a sampling and tasting tour without a testing partner. So Mum and I went and did the tour around the distillery. We had a beautiful lunch. They do mainly platter share style things. So we had a big cheese platter and we had some goat's cheese on there so I could actually have some. We also had a meat platter, and then we had some olives and some nuts, and they did these plantain crisps, which are basically plantain bananas. So they're the bananas you don't usually eat because they're a bit too bitter, but you actually cook with them. And they made these awesome little chips and then drizzled them with honey. They were really, really yummy. So now I am keen to actually go and find myself some plantain bananas so that, oh, I keep flipping that in, so I can actually put them through my dehydrator and make some for us. But it was just such a lovely day. It's a sort of place where you go and you can just sit and relax and unwind. They do have things like mobile reception and stuff out there, but it's quite limited, so you are stuck with actually having to talk to each other without getting onto your phones. But it really is a nice place to go to. So if you are here in Australia near that sort of Queensland, New South Wales border, I do actually recommend going into Husk Distillers. Even if you don't like gin, they have rum, and it's the most awesome rum. I don't like rum, but I will actually drink theirs because it's made differently to how most other Australian rums are made, and it's not quite as strong in its flavour profile. It's a lot more pleasant to drink, well, for me, because I don't like rum, but I do actually enjoy the rums they make. I'm going to add some leaves in here now, and I have got a Wilton leaf tip number 67. This has got which one did I use? I used Melon Fizzer Green. It looks like a real pale grey awful green at the moment, but I promise overnight this one is really going to pop and come up as a nice bright green. Not quite as bright as the Caribbean, but I wanted the red and the orange to really be the star of this soap today. So let's get this one all filled in. Alright, so I had got thoroughly spoilt for my birthday as well. So not only did we go to Husk Distillers, and you saw the parcel in that behind the scenes video of what Tiara sent to me. I'd been eyeing off Fitbits, and my hubby actually went and got one, which you saw in the end of the video. I've got it covered up at the moment, and it's actually been a bit of an eye-opener to see some of the things that I have been doing. I was interested to know just how much walking around, when I go round and round in circles in my shed making soap and stuff, how many steps I was actually taking, how much exercise I really was getting by doing this job. And it really is an eye-opener what you actually do get to doing. So I was very, very happy to get that little Fitbit there. And my parents bought me back a bottle of gin from their recent trip to New Zealand, and also a beautiful pair of earrings as well. So I did get very spoiled. Alright, so I'm going to finish putting these leaves in here. I don't think I'm going to need any more flowers. I think I've got that sort of a nice mix there. I really love how those white flowers are picking up that orange and red flowers, like really differentiating between the two. Before I put them on, they were almost looking very similar. So let's finish getting these leaves put in. To give it that one last little bit of sparkle, I have got some biodegradable glitter in my sprayer pump here, and I'm going to give that a really good spritz just to give that a nice sparkle from that moonlight. So here is Fire Moon up close. I am so pleased with how those little rosettes have come up on the top and all that glistering biodegradable glitter there. I can't wait to see how the colours actually really pop on the top of this. I will give it some spritz with some rubbing alcohol over the next couple of hours every half hour, just to try and make sure that those colours don't dull at all. And then in about 24 hours time, I'm going to cut this open and we'll see what our crescent moon looks like. And hopefully it's in the right position as well with no air gaps. Alright, so our Fire Moon soap is ready to cut open and I am loving how the top of this has come up. It is so bright, but it also has that very fiery look to it. Can't wait to see what our little crescent moon looks like on the inside. I'm going to line this one up so we will actually chop the ends off. I'll probably only end up with about 16 bars out of this one, but I really want the moon to show on either side of the bars. So that is looking good there. So let's go straight through. I'm surprised this one is actually firm enough to cut. It has been so hot here today. It's up to about 36 degrees outside and hubby brought the air conditioning in for me and he says, you make sure you use this before he went off to work. So I'm very surprised this is nice and firm to be able to cut. Let's take a look. Alright, so let's grab this one from off the end first. And that, wow, is our crescent Fire Moon. I am loving that. And you can see that blizzard mica sparkling in there, like lots and lots of stars. That is our tops. They've all got that little bit of flower bed in there, and I'm loving how that moon is just popping from off that black. You might not be able to see much of the sort of mica that I put on the outside of here, but it really does help to actually distinguish it between that black and the shape of the moon. Let's grab this next piece here. So there is another one there. Really, really loving those colors in there. Oh, and I love that side. It's a much darker moon, but it is still there. You can still just see it, but you can see a lot more of the mica outline on this one. Really pleased that the little crescent bit filled up and I haven't got any air pockets in there. If I was going to be a little bit iffy about it, I would probably want my moon across a little bit more, but what I'll probably actually do with these, rather than putting my usual big stamp on them, I might just put the little S into the corner of them and that will actually sit really nicely on there as well. So here is another one with that really dark red moon, and when we flip this one over we've got a little bit more color in there as well. I love how that moon has come up and that crescent shape. It's just perfect. When you actually do see some of these where you can see where the mica line is, it's almost like when you are looking at the moon, because the moon is never this actual shape. It's to do with the shadows that are moving over the moon. So sometimes when you see the crescent moons, you can actually see the glow around the very edge of where it is blackened or shadowed out. So I'm loving how that has come up. And again, there's the tops. We've got a little bit more red on that piece. So I hope you have enjoyed watching how I have made my Fire Moon Crescent soap. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. If you've got any questions, leave them down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And until the next video, I hope you have a great week and I will see you then. Bye!